everyone. My name is Stian Chu Ilo. I'm a research professor at the Center for World Catholicism and Intercultural Theology, the center hosting this event. And on behalf of our director, Professor Bill Kavanaugh, who is unavoidably absent today, I welcome you to this wonderful event. It is indeed a great pleasure to have a very important and inspirational figure in our midst to address us. Many years ago, Pope Paul VI said that modern people no longer listen to teachers unless those teachers are witnesses. If people will listen to witnesses, if people will listen to teachers, it is because they were first witnesses to what they are teaching. So here we have an authentic witness who embodies the message. So what she's going to share with us is not simply something very abstract. She's sharing with us her life, her dream, and this dream is located at the center of what religion is all about, especially the one reflected to us in the priorities and practices of our Lord Jesus Christ. So, I introduce to you Sister Lucy Kurian. A little information about her you have before you, but just some important highlights of a very eventful life. Sister joined the religious order in 1980 at the age of 25. So she is a sister of the Sisters of the Cross. In 1989, Sister joined HOPE, Human Organization for Pioneering in Education, a non-profit founded to help marginalized women gain modest employment. She reached a turning point after witnessing the traumatic death of a pregnant woman and her unborn child at the hands of her drunken husband. From that moment on, she devoted her life to helping battered and destitute women. And in 1997, Maher was born in a small village about 110 miles from Mumbai. This organization soon expanded to nearby areas and then to other parts of India. And today, almost 20 years after its foundation, it offers a home to over 300 women, around 850 children, and 27 men. Sister is a devoted Catholic, a good witness to the faith, whose services and exemplary sacrifice for women have been rewarded in many awards that she has received. But I know, as humble as she is, that she doesn't work for those awards. She works just to bring smile to the faces of these women and to help to change the world. So it is my pleasure to welcome Sister Lucy Kurian to address our gathering.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So thank you for giving me this opportunity to come and share my life experience with you, and thank you for being here. I will share about my life experience a little bit first, and then we will come to the main topic. As Father already told, that I was brought up in a Catholic family, and as a young girl, I moved to Mumbai. And when I was studying, when I was rather very young, there was no TV, no radio, no newspaper in our village where I was born and brought up. And when I moved to Bombay, I saw the slums for the first time in my life, and I was so moved. And I finally decided to join a congregation, thinking that I will be able to do, I will be able to clean up the slums of Bombay. When you are young, energetic, we think so many things, which are not at all practical, and I was one of them. And because I have never seen Islam, I have never seen, I couldn't understand why a woman has to sit for toilet on the road. I did not understand why. So then I decided, I came across Mother Teresa's congregation, that is the missionaries of Mother Teresa. And I went there, I filled up the form, and I thought I will become a Mother Teresa's congregation, because I had heard that she's picking up people, and I will do that. And when I went back home to tell my people that this is what I'm going to do, oh my God, there was lots of cry and disappointment in my family. And because my parents thought I will suffer from what you call the leprosy, because they did not understand also. And they were not at all happy. So since I did not want to make my parents unhappy, I said, okay, I will not join. I went back, continued working in Bombay, and then I came across a congregation called the Sisters of the Cross of Shavanur. That is, in short, we are known as Holy Cross Sisters. I joined there and I started working, and I worked there with them for about 9 years. While I was working there, a woman had come to me asking for shelter. She told me that her husband is in love with another woman, and he is an alcoholic, he is a hot-tempered, and she needed shelter immediately. But within the convent, we were not allowed to take a layperson. It was not possible to take someone. And I did not know how to help her out. And also the sister one who was in charge of the congregation was not there, of that house. And so I did not know how to help her out. I listened, I knew that it was a genuine case. But what to do was a big problem, and I sent her back. That very night, her husband, being an alcoholic, he poured kerosene and set her on fire. This particular incident happened to the place where I was staying, very close to the house. I heard the shouting and yelling, and I ran there to see what was happening. Little did I knew, it was a woman who had asked me for shelter was being burned. And I was very much moved, and I did not know what to do. It was in an Indian village. We did not have a car or a vehicle to take her to the hospital. I struggled with that, and then finally I found somebody who could help me to shift her to the hospital. I took her to the hospital. When I reached there, doctor told me that she's already 90% burnt. And then this particular woman, she was 7 months pregnant. So I had asked doctor if anything can be done to save the baby. When doctor took her to the theatre, operation theatre, what we got in our hand was a fully burned baby. I'm sorry, when you're eating I have to say that, or fully cooked baby. And this particular incident really shook my entire life. Before that, I used to see women and children on the street, and it used to bother me, but I did not know what I am going to do. So anyway, after this particular incident, I was living with this guilt feeling, what I call it, because I felt that why didn't I not do something? Why didn't I not do something? And I was very angry, and I was getting into, I don't know what I was becoming. And so I went in for counseling to, fortunately for me, it was a Catholic priest and a very open-minded man. And he told me, Lucy, instead of getting desperate and staying within the convent, go and do something. And I had read this wording from Gandhi, be the change that you want to see in the world. And I used to think how I can be, I did not have the opportunity like you all to be educated. I don't have the money. And but this priest had told me, if you have love in your heart, you can do it. And this struck me very much. So I went out, I started searching for the people who can help me. Fortunately for me, who came forward to help me first was a person from Austria. You can be very proud you are speaking German. So he was a German-speaking man who had come. He had heard about me that I'm struggling to do something. So he wanted to help women in India. So he came and told me, Lucy, what is the idea you have? Then I explained to him, if I have a house, I would take all these women into my house and do something. And he and his son, they are all musicians, and they stayed with me for a month. And before leaving India, he gave me some money, and that was enough for me to buy a small piece of land. And I purchased the land, and of course I started looking for money to help me to build the house. There were people even with 2 rupees to help me out. And with that, I managed to build up our first home in 1997. From 97 to now, I think we must have helped over 500 women have been through the experience of Maher, and also children. And what's my focus is that to see how the women and children who are on the street can get shelter. So I go around, pick up people who are on the street. Sometimes you can't imagine at what stage I see them. They're full of maggots, rotten on the street, and I pick them up, bring them to our home, clean them up and look after them. We have some of them, with various problems the women have faced, they go crazy, they are gone mad, and once they are mad, who wants them? So they are on the street. Children who are begging, not only for begging, children who are sold into prostitution or born to the prostitute. Okay, so we rescue these children. So at present I have nearly 862 children staying with us. Here it is mentioned 35 houses, but now we are 37 houses across India. I started in Pune, but not only in Pune, we have in Jharkhand, Ratnagiri, Miraj, Kerala and other places. And not only for women and children, even men. We started also a home for men, because the men who are or suffering from dementia maybe, or sometimes they are not okay. So this type of men, I found one, actually I began because I really saw one man dying on the street. He was completely nude and he was under the bridge, under the water bridge. And I said, why is he there? And I thought, mostly we take this man for alcoholics, so I did not bother much first 2 days when I saw him. So third day when I saw he was like groaning, so I said, no, I have to stop, and I picked up this man. I went to Mother Teresa's, they had no place. I went to so many places because we did not have a home for men. So finally nobody was taking this man. All the other homes, that was all paid home. For a destitute, no, there was no home. So I said, why don't I myself start that? So I started a home for men. So now we have these 37 houses for men, for women and for children. And what I also focus is that working in the villages. Because it's not only creating more and more homes like Maher, but work towards how we will not need homes like Maher. So we started self-help group, we started kindergarten, we started so many other things, so that through this self-help group we can go into the village and start an awareness program. So we started various awareness programs. That's the importance of education for the girl child. Because I don't know whether you have heard of this, this saying in India. For us in India, a girl child is considered as a burden. Because what we think is that once she is married, she will go into somebody else's home. Okay. So what happens is that they don't pay attention to the education of the girl child. Because we feel, it's like looking after the girls means like watering the girls, watering the garden or watering the plants of another person's home. This is our belief system. So we don't pay much attention to that. Of course, in the city, life is changing. But what I am talking is the village. Because I am working in the villages of India. The 60 or 65% of the population is still in the villages of India. So I work there. And this is what I am paying attention to, how to get the girls educated. So now you will see in Maher, now this year, 5 of our children are doing MBA.
Wow.
And among the 3 are girls.
Wow.
I feel so happy about that. Many of them are going through the nursing training. About 15 of them are doing hotel management. and most of them are girls. You know, so things like that. So 2 of them are becoming social workers, they are becoming lawyers. You say any profession, my children have reached to that level now.
What makes the people change their mind after you talk to them?
What made me to change?
Yeah, you know, how can you change the parents' mind? What do you tell them?
It's difficult. But what happened when we have these self-help groups with us, you know, I go there and we show them different things, you know, and we tell them how nice it will be if the girls are educated, and this will be the answer. I take these self-help group people into the big companies and show them how are these officers sitting here and why not your children. You know, so I give them lot of exposure visits. Most of our women have never been seen a train, you won't believe it. Most of our women have not even gotten to a bus. Okay, so I bring these women, I send them there to show them this is what will happen. I will give you one example of one particular village. There is one, it's a tribal village. When I went there was not one single child who was going to school. These children, parents used to go to work maybe in the field or raise animals, and the children used to be loitering here and there. So when I went there, of course, as usual, I was rejected, and the people did not understand me. They used to throw dirty water on me and all kinds of, because all those people who had gone there, they only made use of them. So people were scared, and I'm also one of them, and you know, people rejected. But slowly, I gained their confidence. You won't believe, if you go back to that village now, there's not one single child who's not going to school. It took me 18 years to see the result. Okay. But now what I see is there's not a single child who's not going to school, because from that particular village, you know, the bigger girls, I put them into higher standard, and we taught, home, what you call, educated them and sent them into higher. So now from there, one girl has become a teacher, one joined the police force, another one she's become a nurse. So they see the change. Okay, now when they saw the change, the whole village is become motivated to send their children to school. Before that, never. So, you know, things like that, what I am talking about, we will see as, you can see it for yourself. It's, of course, it's an old movie, okay? It's 10 years old. Please forgive me for that. But I will come back to you with all their question and answer after seeing this. But before that, I want to tell you, what I kept in mind was, I'm a Catholic nun. When I pick up women and children, what is the faith that I will teach these children? What is the spirituality that I will offer? Food, of course, was vegetarian, so everybody could sit around, eat anything. Yeah, but what is the spirituality that So you will see this, the symbols of all religion. Because our women and children, they come from all religious background. So we took that, and then I said, if I teach them Catholic faith, they will not understand anything. And I did not want to do that. It will be doing injustice to the children. And I did not want to do that. So what we did was that, respecting all religion, but worshipping the divine. So that you will see the light within, and that light is representing God, the divine, and that's what we are teaching the children. So every day we have 10 minutes meditation in the morning, and in the evening 10 minutes meditation, because for children too long it's not good for them. If we can have more time, of course we do have, but most of the time it's just 10 minutes meditation in the evening and in the morning. And same thing for all the staff, because my staff also belong to all religion. My board members also belong to all religion. The president of our organization, the board members, you know, she's a Muslim, the president. And the others are all Hindus, Catholics and Sindhis, and all faith is there. And then you will see this particular banner. You know what we do? Whenever there is a, you must be hearing this in India, where this communal riot that is taking place. We fight among religion issues. So what I did, I said, what shall I do? You know, in looking after all this is not enough. So I came out with something. You will see this. Is God so small to be possessed by one religion? Okay, so I put this, and then this is in the local language. Of course, this is in English. That's only for America I made and brought this. But this is in our local language. What does each religion mean? Just in one sentence. I wrote down that. And I started distributing this to all the people in the village, in our own land. And this cost me about, in our money, it's about $1.50 or maybe something like that. So I printed this and I asked one of the companies, give me some money to do this. And we have street plays on this. Our children are very good now because, in Maher we have about 862 children, and our children are very good in acting. By the way, my children are even gone to England. They were what you call acting and dancing on the life history of Gandhiji. So the 37 children went to England. Wow! Now to make a passport for our children, because the children are from the street, they did not have a birth certificate. They did not have a permanent address. So how to make a passport? That's all a big history. I need the whole day to talk to you about all that. But I'm telling you, we managed to get it done. Okay? Managed to get it done. The 37 passport was a 37 history to write down. If you are very good in writing, I'll give you all that. You can write down something about Maher. How did we get that? It was such a task for me to do it. Today, one of our girl is studying in, how you call it, Missouri, in US. She has reached there. She was an orphan child, and we have sent her to study now here. One child is studying in United World College in Holland, and one is in Germany. They have reached that level. These are the children. Now we have to find out, it's not like us. For us, we can somehow study and go there. Our children have to first come out of their trauma. It's not easy for these children to come and sit and concentrate and study. They cannot, because they have gone through such painful experiences. Because these are the children who are thrown out on the street. And gently push them, and then they have reached this stage. Okay, so I'm telling you, and yesterday I got such a good news from the boy from Germany. He said, from among 265 children in that particular college, wherever he is, he said he's chosen for the, he has to speak about how we can make a difference in the life of others or something like that. So he is chosen. I was so happy to know that. And that also in Germany, when he is competing with all the other children. And he said, Mom, of course, most of the children, they call me Mom. Otherwise I am known as Didi. Didi means elder sister. But when these children, most of them, now when they realize, they said, no, we don't want to call you Didi, we want to call you Mom. So they call me Mom. Okay, I said, call anything, whatever you feel like. So he was telling me, Mom, it was possible only because of you. I felt so good to hear that. That he was a boy who was begging. He and his brother. His parents died and he was begging and eating. So then I found him and I brought him to school, and I'm feeling so happy that he has reached that level. So, we will see this and then I will come back to you. I have lots to share.
Never mind what your faith or religion is. Come share your pain. Hold my hand and pull yourself up. Come on in. There's always room for one more. It was in the year 1991 when Sister Lucy was working at home that a woman 7 months pregnant approached her for help, afraid that her husband was going to kill her so that he could bring in another woman into the house. Unable to do anything that evening, Sister Lucy asked her to come the next day. The day never dawned for the woman. Her husband killed her that night, along with the fetus.
After this incident, I was very sad and upset. I wanted to run away from this cruel world. It was at that time I met Father Francis Disa, and he suggested to me, instead of running away, stay and do something for this type of women who are suffering.
We needed urgently to create a home for abused and traumatized women who could find a place where they felt secure cared for and wanted, irrespective of religion, caste, or social status. This was the need of the hour. Out of this need, Maher was born in 1997.
Home in Marathi, which is the local language. It represents the warmth, love and care of a real mother's home. The first house was built in Budruk, a village on the outskirts of Pune, to serve as a refuge for women in distress. Women who are ill-treated and thrown out of the house by their spouses and in-laws, widows shunned by both parents and in-laws, and mothers with infants and young children with nowhere to go. Maher is a home where through sheer love, understanding and caring, distressed women from rural India are given hope and the right to a better life. A life of dignity, respect and love. Maher's objective is not merely to shelter these women, but more importantly, to rehabilitate them, either by reconciling them with their families or training them in various vocations so that they can stand on their own feet and not have to be dependent on anyone. It took Maher quite a while to establish its credibility, but with the committed perseverance of the team, people began to look at Maher positively. And as news of the work being done spread, more and more battered and destitute women came to Maher for shelter and a new life. With the women came children. To look after these children, Maher decided to open homes for the children too. However, not all the children at Maher came along with their mothers. Some are orphans, while others come from families too poor to bring them up. No efforts are spared in creating a secure and happy environment for the children. Every child is a child of Maher and gets the love and warmth not from just one set of parents, but from all the adults at Maher. The children are sent to government-run schools or national open school for a formal education. The children's strengths and abilities are identified, and these are channeled towards some form of extracurricular activity. With so many children around, no opportunity is lost to have fun. The fun and joy in Maher's celebrations helps in getting rid of the trauma, the anguish and sufferings of their bitter past. The nutritious vegetarian diet, though simple, it is planned by a dietitian and prepared with love and care. Maher is also dedicated to establishing clean and healthy environments. Accordingly, growing and harvesting of organic foods, use of non-polluting solar energy, recycle waste, vermiculture and biogas is the norm. Maher was only created to help victims of a situation. What was needed was to change the mindset of the people who put women in these situations. This was done through various awareness programs that help villagers understand their rights, duties, responsibilities and place in society, and to unite and stand up to unscrupulous landlords and moneylenders. By July 2007, over 1,200 women and 940 children have been through the Maher experience and have come out brimming with self-confidence and happiness. Today, Maher, with over 122 employees, has its presence in over 90 rural communities around Pune. There are 21 balwadis or kindergartens, 3 tuition classes, 17 bal salons, 2 creches, and close to 178 self-help groups. Maher is managed by a board of trustees that includes doctors, counselors, and social workers. All that Maher has achieved would not have been possible without the constant help of friends of Maher. Their generosity comes in the form of money, goods, services, or just the time spent for Maher. Our heartfelt thanks to each one of them. Maher has indeed come a long way since its humble beginnings in 1997. But there is much more to be done. The immediate plans of Maher would require a sum of approximately 13 million rupees, or roughly $290,000.
More importantly, there's a huge task awaiting us. The task of changing the attitude of society, especially of men, towards women. This is a gigantic task. Maher is therefore not just a project, it is a vision. Vision of a new society where men, women, and children have opportunities for growth, education, and happiness.
Yeah.
Obviously, for you to run this, you need money. So are you always out to raise money?
Of course I am out, but not always. You know, in the beginning I had to work very hard. You know, it was very difficult because we were in the interior village. Okay, if we were in the city, there would have been more visibility of the project. But since I was in an interior village, to get visibility into the city, it was very difficult. And you know, I used to go around in India. You know, the vegetable vendors, they sell vegetables, but they don't have a cold storage, you know, like how it is here. So when they throw out the vegetables, whatever cannot be sold, I used to pick up that and bring that to the house, clean it up, and that's how I used to feed my children. And there were times when in the beginning, you know, like in the grocery shop, you know, then the grains all mixed up, they just keep it for the birds. So I used to collect that, bring that to the house, clean it up, and make use of it. Things like that it was. It was very, very difficult. Okay, but then slowly people started coming to know what we are doing, and then help started coming in. And
Indian people or?
Indian, okay, and not only from India, people also from Austria. Because Austria was the first connection. The man who had given me money, he was during his he used to conduct music, and then during the music time he used to speak about Maher, and that's how I was well known in Austria. Then slowly it went to Germany. Then from Germany it went to other countries. So we have now people helping us from various countries. So what I do is when I find one group strong enough, then I tell them, now this is your home, you have to support that. We look after and they support that particular house. So we have now 37 houses, as like I give it to different people. So my whole thing is, if I find more money, open more house and support more people. You know, this is the way I go about. And of course, when I see a woman or a child, I will never leave it on the street like that. As soon as I see it, I pick them up. Okay, and I see in which house we can make little place and put them there. this one. And then my whole focus is that whether we can, if there's a need to start a home in Jharkhand or Kerala. No, in Kerala it is not needed, but in other parts of India, I will always see if I can go there. It's not, we have to also to find right type of people. That's most important thing. It's not only finding money, but people who are passionate. It's not. It should not be only a job. Yes, you need a job, but it's not only a job. It should be a commitment towards that work. Because these children and these women, what they need you for is more for love, for education, much more than shelter. For what I understood from the working along with them, it's not only, the children, I understood is that, they don't need me for survival. They will go in for prostitution, they'll beg, they will borrow, they'll steal, they'll do anything in order to survive. But what they need you for is to give them love and education. And when I say education, it's not only, just sending them to school, but all-round education. Because if you ask the street children, whatever values you have learned, they have learned opposite. What is that they have learned opposite? Survive at any cost, So kill, rob, do anything, but you survive. So they don't have those values what we hold as dear to us, okay? So they have learned opposite to that. I don't blame them because that's what they have learned. So we have to, slowly get them out of that. It's a big work that to get these children cleaned of the streetways.
I have 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
The first is the man who burned his woman and everything.
Yeah.
What happened to him? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, what about, you mentioned a village in which children didn't go to school and all that.
Yeah.
Isn't education mandatory, compulsory in India? For
The
this?
6th grade, that's it.
Up to
See,
6th grade?
Right.
now all of us together worked to make children's education a compulsory. Okay, but it was not there. That bill is passed now maybe about 9 years ago, I think, or 8 years ago. Okay, so till then that rules were not there. Even though now the rule is there, but who's going to implement that?
Right.
They'll say no way. So things like that, so we have to work very hard in order to the bill that is passed. At least now because of the bill, we can insist, supposing in a hotel a child is employed, we can say no, this child has got a right to go to school. But before that we did not have anything. We could not make it compulsory for those fellows to relieve the children.
Yeah.
So now at least here. And 1 minute, I'll come back. The man who you said about burned, see, when I reached the spot, that man was not there. I don't know who is this man. Because in India, marriages are not registered. She was married, but then there's no registration of the marriage. We don't know. That was a man. We don't know who that person is. She's living in the slum. So in the slum, people are from all parts of India. Okay, so we don't even know. She died, and we don't know man was from where. Nobody knew about that.
So she was never able to identify.
No.
So he was never brought to justice.
No. Because before we could do anything, she died already. Okay, now whom to ask? Nobody in the neighborhood also, nobody knew, because these are all people, they said, I think he is from Sholapur, I think he is from Pune. Nobody knew about it.
And plus, if somebody did know, they probably would be scared to report them for their own self-safety.
Well, I am very poor in English, yeah?
Even if somebody knew who did it,
Yeah.
especially if it was a woman,
Yeah.
she might be scared to report him to the police for fear of he doing the same thing to her.
Same thing, it can happen that way also, but in this case, they did not know from where that man was. Nobody knew about him.
I have a question. Can you speak to us about your volunteer program? Maybe our future graduates of that. They're doing social work. So maybe they're gonna look for like a place where to, you know, to earn her. Maybe.
Yeah, we encourage many volunteers to come to our place. You know, the several universities from here, now from what you call Boston, and other places also, people have been coming to us for volunteering. And the volunteering is like, there are some people who come only there for a week, some of them come for 10 days, they just want to have an experience of India, so they come there, and at the same time they do something in Maher. And there are some volunteers who are staying there now. For the German volunteers who have come through the Red Cross, they are staying there for 1 year. So then when they are coming for 1 year, then I give them one of the children's home. They have to take care of that home, not in the sense like they are replacing any staff, they cannot do that. They help the staff over there. So they will help in taking English classes for them, teaching computer, sometimes just trimming their hair maybe, or trimming their nails maybe, they are small children. So all these things they do, okay. Then there are like volunteers who are coming for 3 months, or sometime maybe to paint a house, make a garden, play with the children, play with the mentally disturbed women's home, or aged women, take them for, you know, little outing. You know, like only our staff cannot take care of so many women and children, so then I send them there. You know, there are different type of work that we give to the volunteers, and we have several volunteers coming to Maher from all parts of India. Oh no, sorry, world. Yeah, from east, west, north, everywhere people are coming there, and we welcome them. And then when they come, of course they pay us also towards their food and lodging, they pay us some money. So that's also coming as a little income for our home. Yeah.
I had a question regarding, you know, you work with these children, you try to get them educated, but I've read and heard that getting into universities in India is very challenging. Like only the top 1% will get accepted into universities. What do you do at that point? Do you teach the children trades?
It's really very, very expensive, and also it is a big challenge for us. So what I do is, you know, we have very many corporate people, you know, there's now I don't know whether you have the system here, but in India, any corporate who starts any companies in India, 2% of the income, they are supposed to roll it back to this into the society, which means to the poor people. So as soon as now when I know that you know, say this year nearly 65 children are going to the university. So what I did was that I write to different companies, can you take 5 children, you take 2 children. If your company is small, I tell them you take 2, you take 5, and no, like that, I write. So then they write back, okay, I will take 2, and sometimes they will say, oh, 10 is too many, maybe we'll support 2, you know, things like that. Then if I cannot, then I tell my children, you wait, you do some work now by the time. They get into this production unit, and I tell them you work there, so next year you will get a chance. Okay? But so far I don't have to do that. All the children are going to university. They managed. And then of course to get the children into the best university I cannot afford. Okay? But most of the children are going to, some of them are going to private schools, so I get lots and lots of people to get involved with us, and then I send them to the. So that's why I was also invited to CGI, you know, this Clinton Global Initiative. I was there, just coming from there, and I spoke to some of the people, if you can help me for the higher studies of my children, that will be great.
Another question. Last winter we had a speaker here coming from India too, and he spoke about like the Dalit Catholics.
Yeah.
But the Dalit, the lowest caste of the Indian society, is that still a problem also with the people actually that you're helping?
Problem in the sense, you know what happened, once you become a Catholic, naturally, you belong to no caste. So in India, for the low caste people, the government allows many things. So once you are out of that caste, once you belong to a Catholic or a Christian organization, naturally, you don't belong to any particular caste, which means your right is denied of that. Okay. Now what the people are fighting, I want to be a Christian, but I also want to belong to that particular caste. So the government is saying that you became a Christian, that means you don't have a particular caste. That's why you became that. So in that way, they have been denied of that particular caste, what you call right. Particular for the lower caste, the government gives supposing university studies, they have only to pay half. And traveling expenses, they get concession, and so forth, things like that. Lots of things are there for the lower caste people. So those things will be denied once you become a Catholic or Christian, naturally, because you are a Catholic, and the Catholic Church is supposed to see to that. But what happens with our Catholic Church? It has become so, what I call it, forgive me, Father, for saying that, we become so bureaucratic in our behavior, and then we forget to look at these issues, we don't want to look at those issues. We become that way. And then what I call it, the upper caste who have become the Catholics or the Christians, too much of an aggressive type of a presence there. Instead of being with the people, for the people, we have forgotten that, and we think that we are somebody there up in like a Romans, and then we are sitting there and we are ruling all these people and telling them what. So then the people get disoriented, they get disconnected with the church, and so things like that. It's sad, but then things are there like that, yeah.
Yeah, my question, Sister Lucy, is about wanting to know the level of collaboration among different religious groups in the area where you work. Do you get support, financial skills, or in cash or in kind from different religious groups, or is it only from the Christian groups that you get this kind of support?
I'm sorry, from the Christian church I don't get any help. It is not because of this thing, it's because what happened is that when I started this, as I told you, since I started as an interfaith, my Catholic Church did not understand me, neither my religious congregation understood me. So what happened was that they thought I am become an anti-church or an, what do you call it, I'm not more of a believer in that sense, okay. And the other side, the Hindus thought I am come there for conversion because my name is Lucy and I am a Catholic. Okay. So the people thought I am come for conversion. So both the communities in that sense, the strong communities, the Catholic community and the Hindu communities misunderstood me thinking I am come for conversion, and here the people thought I had left the church. Yeah. So I was in the middle of nowhere. So
Have you tried Baha'i community? Because they're totally aligned with your beliefs.
Yeah, we have those people also who are helping us now. Okay. But now it's no more. In fact, I am the advisor to the the social work that is going on in Pune diocese. So now I am in that particular panel. I am everywhere now. Okay, they asked me to come into all this. So I am there. There's no problem now. But in the beginning, it was a real struggle. And another thing is that being as a Catholic nun, we are supposed to live in the community, with the sisters. And I decided to live with the people, with the ordinary people, the most poorest people, whom the society had completely rejected. Okay, so living with them, they said, what type of a life this is? Okay. My own parents who came, and they also got so upset. I remember my father came and he cried like anything, as if it was my funeral. Because he could not understand me. He said, what is this? You have no food to eat, you have not even a bed to sleep and no chairs to sit. That was the situation at that time. And I was trying to make my parents understood that that is not very important. What is important is for me to live my life for the people. Okay, so these things do happen, But not now. Now they all understood. And now I get, as I said, there are so many awards that are coming from the church, outside the church and everywhere. But in the beginning it was really a struggle. Yeah.
Parents still alive to see the change?
Yeah.
Are your parents still alive?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yes. My father came many times after that. You know, they're very fond of me. But naturally, so every parents, I think, dream of the children going upward, not this way. Okay, so I chose to be this way. So naturally, they could not accept that, you know. Because when first time when my parents visited, there was no food to eat. So in Kerala, my father is a farmer, so naturally there was plenty of food, and he did not know. First thing what he was thinking of to export all those things. I said, Dad, I don't want that. That's not the way to do it. I said, I have to generate everything from within and see how we can help out, you know, to help the people. So it was difficult, yeah.
My question is, when you bring in women who may be victims from their partner, like partner violence and domestic violence, how do you try and keep them safe from their partners? And do you have like confidentiality? Like, is there secret locations where you are, where men can't find? Because that's how domestic violence
ours is now very, very open space.
Okay.
Okay? Anybody can come in. And one good thing about India is that, like in this country, we don't have the gun culture.
Yeah.
You know, the men don't come with the guns, okay? They can come with a stick or iron rod and things like that, they do come, okay? And as you said, sometimes it's a little bit difficult, okay? But most of the time, I don't find it this thing, because whenever these men come, we also show them love, okay? And then I ask them, why did your woman leave your house? If everything is okay in your home, why did she leave? So you have to question yourself and also question her. Of course, then we have a lot of counseling session. And sometimes the men are so proud they don't even come. So we go to their houses to find out what went wrong. It's not that they come. Of course, we accommodate all of them, those who need shelter. But we also find out the reason behind. And if the woman was at fault, we also counsel her and see if she can go back home. And if she cannot go back, for whatever reason may be, then we find out how she can be independent of Maya. So that's why we give them different type of training. These are the few things that I brought. Okay, we have very many things.
I want to thank you, Sister Lucy, for this very profoundly moving presentation. You are truly an angel of light. And I guess we all are deeply touched and grateful to God for the opportunity that to just listen to your testimony. So I will invite you, friends, to put your hands together again just to